Today I'm joined by Niko Polvinen, who is the CEO of Logmore, a Finnish company that in recent months has managed to get in the news quite a lot, specifically with the deal that you struck with DHL. So hello, Niko, and thank you very much for taking the time today. So tell us a bit
Thank you.
more about how did you started working with DHL?
Yeah, of course. So we have been dealing with DHL for quite a while. Obviously, building like a partnership with full trust on each party, it takes some time. So we have been in the talks for more than a couple of years, and we've been how we support the end customers and all that for quite a time period. And now we like based on the decisions we made together last summer, we basically were able to start like with large quantities in the COVID-19 vaccine shipments.
And the technology that you provide is very innovative. So where did you start with it? And I'm interested to know about the story of your QR codes and what is behind it.
Yeah. So like the technical innovation behind our solution is that my friend, co-founder Antti, found out that it would be possible to basically use standard QR codes one after another, and therefore like embedding more data, like the data that was in the recent QR code and some additional data to the second QR code, and therefore like changing like with the set period the QR code and include more and more data. And that's basically how we like the original innovation, which we needed to build our own like QR code QR code algorithms that draw the picture of the QR code on the screen, and our own data encryption methods and stuff like that to be able to actually like make it possible in real life.
And do you think that the perception of QR codes has changed specifically when we are looking into logistics and supply chain? Do you think that companies have embraced the technology more?
I see that happening, definitely. So QR codes have been already like pretty, especially like B2B operations and like business operations. It's been really like a standard way of doing things, like worldwide for quite a while. Of course, in certain parts of the world, for example, in Asia, QR codes are even in the like daily like consumer
Mhm.
like world, in a way that you, for example, you purchase your grocery store stuff with the QR code.
And apart from when we are looking into the other projects that you do, apart from the one with DHL, you're also quite a lot focused on, specifically during the last year, on vaccines shipments. And you have another project which is about sustainable packaging and better packaging for vaccines. So what is this about?
Yeah, we partnered up with Sofricam, um, a France-based leading packaging like thermal box manufacturer, and basically together with them we want to make it easier and more sustainable way to monitor, let's say, vaccine shipments, but all kinds of like temperature controlled shipments, especially the last mile, where like often these large quantities of, for example, the COVID-19 vaccines, they are shipped in like huge boxes and pallets to, let's say, from country A to country B. But what happens after it's landed, it's taken into smaller and smaller parts, and the small boxes are delivered to the final destination, the vaccination centers. And this is actually the most challenging part of the supply chain, the last mile. And we want to make it like as easy as possible for the recipients of the vaccines, let's say the doctors and nurses who are actually like giving the jab at the vaccination center, to make sure that it's all good and safe.
And if you're looking into the future for Logmore, what are your plans and where do you want to take the company forward?
Well, of course, we are currently growing really fast, and we aim to keep that pace. We want to be able to make QR codes even like more established standard in the world of logistics as a way how to collect data. We do also have some other ideas how to make it like down the road even better. But I'd say that like our goal is to actually like enable each shipment to tell its story. So that's what we want to do. We want to like the vaccines and food and like fish and dairy and all that. The goods need to be able to tell their story,
Mhm.
whether it's safe or not, and how should it be consumed.
And where do you see then the technology that you provide move forward? How do you see it? QR codes are now, as you said, standard, specifically in Asia. How do you think that it will change overall in the future?
From hardware point of view, definitely like the sensor devices are getting smaller and cheaper, and it's like we are gonna see the shift of moving from like pallet level monitoring to box level monitoring. We are currently like going through with, for example, these vaccine shipments. But of course, it doesn't end there. So after we are monitoring each box, we see that there will be like a huge leap to take to get into the sales package level monitoring. So to enable, for example, things like dynamic best before dates and things like that. So we are after that we are truly end to end. From software side of things, I definitely see that the core focus of ours and most likely like other major players in this area are focusing on things like macro visibility over the supply chain events. So to be able to find like and provide information about deviations and better ways to operate and things like that.
Do you see that when you're talking about macro level, do you think that there are certain barriers in order to achieve this? And what are these barriers? Is it maybe regulations or just the technologies not there yet?
Well, so far the major barrier like why this like quite a it's quite a rare event to actually like any company in the world to have like a full macro view, like visibility into their supply chain on this level, is that the data collection has been too difficult, either too expensive or otherwise like from supply chain wise too challenging. And I think especially like what we see like from our customer base, that having like as easy as possible way to collect the data at the end destination and actually collecting the data into a cloud rather than like PDF reports or Excel files, it already enables the macro view. The next step is only to like find better tools, let's say like data mining, AI, stuff like that, to be like find the most relevant information from the huge pool of data we can collect.
And at the end, I also think it's very important to mention that Logmore is going to be the premium sponsor for a conference that the Logistics Point is organizing on the 11th of May about sustainability. And if you can just give us a bit of an idea of where do you think QR codes and your technology fits when we talk about sustainability?
Actually monitoring the shipments as accurately as possible enables, for example, to like reduce waste. For example, the pharmaceutical industry in the world loses its billions every year in like worth of the pharmaceuticals, and the major reason for that is temperature deviations. And the problem is if you, for example, you monitor like a truck, if the one sensor at the end of the truck says that it's too hot in here, it doesn't actually necessarily mean that the whole shipment, that the whole huge truck load is compromised. So we see that with our solution that you're able to take your monitoring closer to the cargo and the goods rather than monitoring the whole like area the cargo is transported in. You can actually reduce waste.
Thanks very much for your time, and I'm definitely looking forward to your presentation at our event.